to Media Melanie Talks TV. I'm Melanie, and today I'm back to talk about School Spirit Season 2, which has flown by. I can't believe the finale is already here. Episode 8 is called Fire Talk to Me, and in today's video, I'll get into some unanswered questions, predictions, go into this week's unboxing clues, and I will read the episode description, which is a little bit spoilery, so if you want to go into the finale not knowing anything, you may not want to watch this video, maybe catch my last episode recap or theory video instead, because there could be some light spoilers here. Before we get into it all, please go ahead, like this video, and hit that subscribe button. I'd really just like to say how much I appreciate this entire School Spirits fandom. It's been such a fun community, and I've had a really great time talking about this show, so thanks for everybody who stuck with me, and let's hope that we are going to get a season 3, so we will still have more to talk about, and you know I will be here talking about it, so let's manifest that third season, something I've been trying to do in the last few videos. Let's all put that energy together. We know that trauma is energy, so why can't positivity be energy as well? Putting it out there to get our third season of School Spirits. One theme that we've heard all season long from the cast is that in the finale, we can expect something even worse than we think. They keep saying, think worse, and it's even worse than that. What could it possibly be? Let's read the episode description for this week and see if we can garner any clues. Maddie and the ghost confront Mr. Martin, ultimately trapping him in the afterlife. New information leads to a chase through the school's scars and delaying Maddie's return to the living world and putting her body in jeopardy. That sounds pretty beefy to me. We know Mr. Martin is indeed on the way back to Split River High School, and the fact they're telling us they trap him in the afterlife, that's pretty interesting. Does that mean Mr. Anderson actually gets his body back? How is that going to work? Did they do a successful body swap? I've been thinking this whole time, Mr. Anderson is settling in pretty nicely to this afterlife and have been prognosticating. It just would not be surprising if he ends up being the adult figure, the role model, the leader for these kids in the afterlife and kind of takes over where Mr. Martin left off. But Mr. Martin is still here. If he's trapped in the afterlife, does that mean that he is unable to move on? And where is he trapped? Are they doing what he did to Janet? A little bit of karma here, locking him up in his scar? I think that would make sense and really seems to me the only place that they could actually trap him. What do you guys think? And just coming off of this last episode in general, I just want to say I'm still swooning over Wally's buns, the pancake scene in that projector room, Charlie and Yuri, Quinn's even making some progress. And I keep asking myself, who is going to cross over in this finale? Will we have one ghost, a pair of ghosts, all of the ghosts cross over? And what would that mean if Mr. Martin is stuck there in the afterlife? Will he be the only one stuck there? And what does that mean if new ghosts end up entering the scene at Split River High School? Speaking of new ghosts, are we going to get a new ghost? Is it possible that either one of the living teens dies or there is some sort of body swap going on? Those are, I think, some of the biggest questions going into the finale, and I've been asking this all along. Who do you guys think will cross over, if anybody? A lot of these character arcs this season have signified quite a bit of character growth, and really at this point it seems like any of them have a pretty good chance of coming on because they are really starting to accept their traumas, gain this sort of self-awareness like Dawn did when she crossed over. So what do we think? Who's moving on? Who's staying? Will Maddie end up getting her body back, which is obviously one of the biggest questions here, and what would that mean for Janet if she does? And going back to that episode description for a minute, the fact that delaying Maddie's return to the living world and putting her body in jeopardy, that's interesting. One of my earlier theory videos this season was the fact that even though we got the reveal that Maddie is alive, her body is alive, and Janet is out there inhabiting it, could her body actually still be dead? Could that head wound have caused the body to die and Janet's spirit has been fueling the body? Does that mean that there is some sort of physical issue with Maddie's body that even if her spirit goes back in, she'll be unable to re-enter the world of the living because her body's failing? Perhaps she is in a coma. And if she is in a coma, one of the other big unresolved storylines is the fact that Xavier saw Maddie's dad at the hospital wearing that fisherman vest and actually spoke with him. Will Xavier be able to communicate to Maddie while she is in the hospital, if that's in fact where she ends up going, that her dad is there. Will they end up getting to connect? That is one of the biggest dots I think that I'm looking forward to being connected, and really how that impacts the Nears family as a whole. Sandra's been out there really struggling with everything, and something I did bring up in my last video was back to that thing about it being the worst possible thing that could happen. I keep thinking, oh my gosh, what if Maddie does get her body back, does re-enter the world of the living, but for some reason, Sandra ends up either dying or stuck at the hospital, or maybe she goes back to the high school when she finds out what is going on there. I just am not putting it out of the realm of possibility that Sandra could somehow play into all of this, and if so, I think that could be one of the most tragic storylines of all. But then we've got our boy Simon too. In this last episode, he's emotionally vulnerable. He's having some regrets about the way he handled his college interview, the fact he got suspended, trying to help Maddie when Maddie is concerning herself with Wally and the ghost. And I think that's really hard for Simon to actually reconcile. And will that emotional vulnerability perhaps cause his body to have that vacancy sign above it that Maddie had? His soul is somewhat dying, and could it be that, I don't know, somebody body swaps into Simon? Or does he end up maybe even self-deleting, which would be absolutely tragic. 100% one of the worst things that could happen for his friend Maddie to re-enter the world of the living, and then he gets stuck at Split River High School, or perhaps the hospital for that matter, because we know the ghost can get stuck there. And with that reference of there being some sort of delay with Maddie's body, maybe everybody does go to the hospital and something happens to Simon there. I'm not sure. I mean, we've only got a couple of days to find out, but drop your thoughts and theories in the comments, because we've only got a couple more days left to come up with these theories and talk about them before either the series is over or we have to wait for a third season. Now, the one scene that we have got in trailers and teasers is Maddie floating underwater in what looks like a green body of water. Was anybody else surprised that we didn't get that in the last episode? I thought for sure that Maddie's body was going to end up getting knocked into the water somehow when her and Mr. Martin got into some altercation or skirmish, and that something was going to happen to her body there. She was going to float down into that lake, but that's not the case. Where is there more water? And will this tie into perhaps her dad's storyline with the fishing? That's the only other logical water connection that I can come up with right now, and I would love to know if you guys have any thoughts on that as well. Let's talk about the unboxing clues. And again, I watch these weekly videos by Kristen Maldonado. She's part of the School Spirits Paramount Plus mailing campaign, where they mail out boxes and clues every single week. So I will put the link to her video down here in the description. Be sure to go subscribe and check her out. She's also got some really great content. But first clue coming out of that box this week was actually a note that said the journey's not over, there's more coming, referenced a needle drop. So one of the items in the box was in fact a record player. Will there be some other big needle drop, some music coming into play in this final episode? And also, what an awesome promotional box, and how do I sign up for that? Because I would have loved that School Spirits record player. We also see a red pine key. Red Pine? That's Eugene's nursing home. Are they actually going to go back there and look in this storage space? People in my comments have been saying that they think the storage space is actually more figurative, and he locked whatever information about the fire in the vault in his memories. But seeing this red pine key makes me think they are going back and they will search through it. But what's interesting is that Eugene's character does not appear on IMDb to be in episode 8. So will they just kind of sneak in without his help, or will he somehow be involved in some way? It is strange, though, that his character's not listed in this episode. So it leads me to believe they somehow gain access to this key and do go and search Eugene's storage. What could they possibly find there that he's left in there for so long? And if he has something that's quite compelling evidence-wise, why would he have not turned it in sooner? We do know that he said nobody believed him, and he tried to keep, saying something wasn't right. Mr. Martin and Janet were too meticulous for that fire to have started. So I am really dying to know what they will find there and how it will relate to the fire. And given the episode itself is called Fire Talk to Me, I've got to think we will finally be getting content and flashbacks from the day of the fire, and perhaps we'll learn that what Janet was saying before isn't necessarily true, either because she is an unreliable narrator and maybe she doesn't even know what happened and is going by what Mr. Martin's told her for all these years, or there is still something brewing under the surface that she does not want this group to find out, which leads me to the next clue in the box, a school spirit's lighter. We have fire themes going on and on here, so again, we're getting the fire content, right? We're going to finally see what happened in the fire, how the scars are related. I would really like to know who is the brunette woman who needed more time in that scar. I am pretty confident that it's Mr. Martin's fiance, Alice, given the name of that actress who played that woman. But I would also like to know more about the burned face girl in the scar. I think we've all kind of decided now that the scar with that woman in the burned face is Mr. Martin's scar, not Janet's. So will we get to see Janet's scar? This is something else that's interesting. Sorry, I'm a little off track. I'll get more into the unboxing clues again in a second. But a lot of people in the comments from last week were saying there was a line of dialogue where Janet said she's haunted by her father. But the line of dialogue was not there. What was there was that line in the closed captions. Why would they have edited out the line of Janet being haunted by her father? Does that mean we will see Janet's father within her scar finally? I've been talking all about Janet's dad this season. First of all, trying to figure out if there's a familial relation to the Hamiltons and someone in the present day timeline, but also kind of thinking, hey, doesn't it seem like this guy could be responsible for the fire and maybe he didn't necessarily kill his daughter on purpose, but what if he did start it because he was not happy with whatever was continuing to happen between Mr. Martin and Janet, even after Reverend Hamilton did express his concerns to the school and they did give him 2 weeks notice. So how does Janet's dad play into this, and will we see him again in this episode? And why did they take that line out? I think that's very interesting, and it makes me wonder if we don't see more of Janet's dad here, will this storyline somehow carry over into season 3? One of the more interesting clues in this box are a set of essential oils, and they all have names on them. But what's pretty interesting, as Kristen pointed out in her video, is that all of the scents are the names of ghosts, except for one. And you know who it is? It's Simon. Why is Simon being included in an essential oil set of the ghosts? You guys, does this mean that Simon is actually going to be a ghost at Split River High School? If so, how does he die? Do we think this is an accidental situation? Could perhaps Mr. Martin come back and kill Simon? And, that ties into how Mr. Martin ends up getting trapped in the afterlife? Or, does Simon self-delete? We know he's in quite an emotional state. I am pretty interested to see what this clue means, and it is pretty telling, and that's why I gave the spoiler episode at the beginning of this episode. I think they're trying to get us ready for something pretty bad, because the irony in all of it is he's been doing everything he can to get his friend Maddie out of there. But what if he ends up there and she's back in the real world? Can you even imagine? And then the question emerges as well. First of all, how's Simon and Wally going to get along with each other? But will Maddie be able to see Simon like he saw her? Will their connection be strong enough on the reverse of it all for Maddie to interact and try to help get Simon out of there if in fact he is the one that enters the afterlife at Split River High School? The other clue there, which is also super cute, and I would love one of these for myself. I guess I need to check the Paramount shop and see if they sell them, but the necklace that Maddie was wearing when she died, which can assume is her key, it has a compass on it. It was given to her by her dad. Again, what are we going to find out about Mr. Nears? Will he and Maddie end up connecting somehow in this finale? But on the back of the necklace, it is engraved, "The only way out is through." We know this episode's going to have this chase through the scars, as it mentioned. So does that mean we finally get the key and we get more context into the scars, into the traumas? Will that play into Janet being able to cross over somehow? Or how does it work with the body swap? I have so many questions, you guys, and I cannot wait for this episode. And if you watched my last theory video regarding is Split River High School cursed, we learned in the last episode energy is trauma, and there is a causal relationship between this trauma, this energy, and the school itself. I talked a little bit about some different theories and principles. Could there be some sort of time element involved in it? Could it be something tied to this land specifically or something that it was built on? So definitely go watch that video as well. I'm hoping they circle back and give us an answer as to what exactly this connection is. What do you guys think it is? Drop it in the comments. And then one more thing from this episode description was new information leads to this chase through the school scars. What's the new information? Does it have to do with the fire and the flashbacks? Could it have to do with Maddie's necklace and the key? Could it have to do with Mr. Martin getting stuck there? Are they chasing him through there? Is that how he ends up getting stuck? I'm surprised they actually gave us this much information in the description. And yes, it is on IMDb. It's not on Paramount Plus proper site. So again, it could be a little spoilery. So if you're still watching, don't blame me. I did give you a spoiler alert at the beginning of the video. As we do head into the finale, I'd love to know, what are some of your favorite moments from this season overall? What are some of your biggest questions that you absolutely must have answered? And on a scale of 1 to 10, what are our chances of getting a season 3? I know viewership has seen 104% uptick from, I believe, season 1 to season 2. So with that new viewership, with season 1 being on Netflix, I'm gonna give our chances an 8. I hope we get this news fast. I'm frantically refreshing my Google. I even set an alert for Google News for School Spirit Season 3, so let's hope we get it very soon. And you know what, when we do, I'll probably pop on here with a little celebratory video. And then one other thing I kind of thought about doing was a fan panel towards the end of the season after the finale, just to get together, have a little post-mortem with some fans who want to talk about some of the highlights, lowlights, whether or not we'll have the season 3. So if that's something you might be interested in, drop a comment, let me know. I can't believe the finale is almost here. Like I said, this season has flown by. It has just been an absolute pleasure coming here to talk about school spirits every week. And I sincerely thank all of you for sticking with me. This show is so much fun. It's been a really great community and fandom. Not all fandoms are like that. So again, extra appreciation and gratitude for everybody that's liked, commented, watched, all of that stuff. So let's hope we're going to be here for more. And either way, I will be here with my finale reaction and review on Thursday, and I will likely follow it up with another theory video or ending explain type of thing as well. So let's hope we have a season 3 so I can keep the content coming. All right, couple days left. Everybody go down in the comments, drop your theories, your predictions, your biggest questions, your 1 to 10 rating of how likely we are to actually get the 3rd season. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. If you do like videos like this where I talk about dark and mysterious TV shows, make sure you like this video and hit that subscribe button. I recently just finished covering Paradise Season 1 on Hulu. Phenomenal show. Still covering Severance Season 2 on Apple TV+, and The White Lotus on HBO Max. So stick with me for more TV talk. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will be back again soon. Media Melanie, clicking off.